sprints by Bocklett, determined to the inside, he scores! Ulrich, pretty! Cork managed to beat the double of the goalie Queener.
You said you come back early. You come back, you're less than a month away from guys being back on campus and getting going. And general thoughts as the fall wrapped up. General impressions of your team. How are you feeling about it as you get ready to start spring and get into the season?
Well, we're excited about the way the fall went. Certainly it was an opportunity for us to kind of build the foundation going into the spring. For a staff standpoint, being in my second year as head coach and having the staff a little bit more established, I think was really made an impact. Certainly from the organizational standpoint, getting on the same page quicker. I think that was something that reflected on the fall and kind of the off season here made a big difference for us. We lost some key players from a year ago. So we certainly on the offensive side of things, it's a lot of fresh faces. We brought in a big freshman class. I think they've done a really nice job just adapting to the Ohio State community, the lacrosse family that we have. So that's been a big success. And I think as a team, we've set some lofty goals, competitive goals, but aside from that, goals in the classroom. We've set a goal recently of 500 hours community service-wise, and we're just over the 250-hour marker going into this finals week, something we're pretty proud of. And so I think that it's been fun to sit down with the seniors and really set goals for the year and outline some things that we feel like are very attainable, and I think we're working towards those.
And on the field, you talked about some of the losses. The biggest one maybe up front, you lose Joel Delgarno. Talk about, not necessarily just replacing him. I don't know if that's even possible, but where are you going to go for the offense? This year with him out there, you got some guys back, but who are the guys?
Sure.
For?
Well, I think anytime you lose Joel, it's very hard to replace a guy like him. He brought so much to the table, and I think in addition to Joel, a guy like Jeff Ryan, who's also an all-conference player for us, two attackmen who've been starting 3-4 years for us. Just that experience, really, of knowing the schemes. So it's been a little bit of a learning process. Mario Benaquatro, kind of the third piece of that attack a year ago, had a hamstring in the fall, so we really didn't have anyone with us in the fall that had played. So it was an opportunity to get some fresh guys in there, some young guys, some guys that have been kind of waiting their turn. I think we're looking at 5 or 6 guys at attack position right now that are all bringing some nice things to the table. One guy we've moved from the midfield is Michael Pyers. Comes out of Victoria, British Columbia. I think he had 20 goals for us out of the midfield last year. He's been playing some attack and doing some nice things. I think certainly when Mario gets healthy, he'll be a guy that kind of stabilizes that unit, certainly. And a couple young guys. Jeff Tundo out of Orchard Park has done some really nice things this fall. Justin Hayes, a senior for us, who transferred in last year out of Herkimer, but right here from Ohio, grew up in Hudson. Another transfer, Zachary Rogers, came to us from UMass, with 2 years left. Has been a really nice addition, and adapted really well. And in the midfield, I think it's something where Jimmy Green, James is a guy that really is what we center around as far as experience. Guy's played going into his 4th year, really brings a lot of athleticism to our midfield. I've been excited about a couple young guys there as well. Dominique Alexander, a freshman, and Logan Shush out of British Columbia, 2 freshmen that are going to play significant roles for us. But I think again, just as a whole, offensively, we tried to focus on the fundamentals. It's been a lot of teaching, more so than I've done in the past. Just shooting, stick work, communication. The younger you get offensively, the less I feel like we want to talk. So we've been really focusing on communication, getting that ball movement, and we've taken some nice steps. I think the one nice thing has been we're not as focused on finding Joel as maybe we have been, and it's more of just been, when we have had success, you don't really know where that ball is going to end up. So there has been kind of a refreshment there, and knowing that, hey, if we just move the ball, good things will happen.
I was going to, when you let me the next question, I was going to ask you about that, like how it changes now that you lose that, that guy that you knew if you got him the ball, there was a pretty good chance it was going to go in the back of the net. So you kind of see, that team mentality kind of taking shape maybe more than it did. And I don't make it sound like that was a negative. It's not, but kind of taking shape as a whole team offensive unit.
Yeah, and I think the guys understood that Joel was a guy that if we got him the ball in certain areas, it was going to be a real positive thing for us, and we really fed off of his ability to distribute the ball as well as score. And I think right now it's more of just I think everyone understanding that it's not going to be one guy, that everyone's got to get 10, 15% better, and I think that's been fun. Like I said, it's been exciting to see that movement in our offense. I think eventually, as we grow, we could potentially be a tougher team to defend based on the fact that there's a little bit more balance, but I think it's going to take some time.
And then going to the other end, I mean, the defenseman, the kind of preseason all-conference Scott Foreman. Talk about him, and then again, kind of the rest of the unit and how it's going to shape up at that end of the field.
Sure. Well, I touched on Coach Baxter, Andrew, being in his second year. I think that makes a big difference with the schemes and everyone's comfort level. Our three captains are on the defensive side of the ball. Brandon Freeman in the goal, Scott Foreman defensively, and Andrew Stimmel as a defensive midfielder. Scott, I can't say enough good things in regards to Scott as far as the type of character, person that he is, leader. Just a really special player, person. But he just brings an intensity to our table that, we did our lifting and strength and conditioning tests. He's a guy that's, top 2 on the team, 1, 2 in every category. I mean, he's fast, he's physical, he takes a lot of pride in that side of things, and he just brings a level of toughness to our practice field every day that I think he's very respected for. And then he's a true leader off the field. And I think it really starts with him and Andrew and Brandon. They're all very similar. They all have great work ethic, all have different leadership styles. But you have some guys that are back. Our defensive midfield was really brand new last year. So a guy like Scotty Lathrop, Bryce Woodson, playing defensive midfield along with Keenan Aquat, who was a freshman for us last year, who played a considerable amount of minutes. We've moved Brock Sorensen, who played offense for us last year with a short stick, to pole. He's a 6'6" guy from Peterborough. He actually tried out for the Canadian national team and had a great tryout. And he's done some really nice things at the long stick position for us. And then, shoring up the close D will be Matt Kawamoto. He's all conference a year ago in the Great West. I think he's a guy that's ready to step into being more of a cover guy. And I like the fall that Joe Bonanni's had, right out of St. Mary's, and he's done some nice things in his sophomore year. So we're excited, and a freshman in Ryan Brandt, goalie-wise. I think certainly Brandon, coming off the year he had last year, has done some really nice things, but also look for Ryan to continue to grow as the season goes on.
And then kind of shifting to the looking at your schedule, I mean, you still keep some of those, Notre Dame's still on your schedule, some of those, the natural rivals that, that came down, that were Great West teams, in addition to the new ECAC. Talk a little about you going through your schedule and what you see as some of the, maybe it's not specific teams, some of the challenges that your schedule presents for 2010.
Well, and I think for us, this schedule has certainly been ratcheted up a little bit. Not having the conference tournament, we looked at it as a staff and just felt like we want to give ourselves the best opportunity to get into that tournament. And I think strength of schedule is key. We're excited. I'm very thankful that both Coach Marr and Coach Canella have taken the opportunity and are making the trip out to Columbus. That means a great deal to me. And I think that in addition to that, you have a team like Bucknell that remains on the schedule. Villanova is a new addition, another tournament team. Penn State remains, as you mentioned, along with Notre Dame and North Carolina. So your out-of-conference schedule is pretty firm, and I think that's something that we're excited about. We know that it's a challenge, certainly, but with the new conference, the 8 teams, certainly a very deep conference. I think it's going to be very exciting. I think every week's going to be a new challenge. Every Monday is going to be a clean slate, and I think the guys are really excited about the opportunity that lies ahead.